this morning now, let's look at Matthew 6, verses 19 through 24. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, how's that? Thanks, Paul. Yes. All right. So there was this farmer. Yeah, he had some chickens, had some cows. One day, one of the cows gave birth to twin calves. They were so excited. The farmer told his wife, "We must dedicate one of these calves to the Lord to show our gratitude for what he has provided." And the wife said, "Oh, well, which one will it be?" One was brown with some dark spots. One was dark with some brown spots. He said, "Oh, don't worry about that. This is for the Lord." The next year, one of the calves died. The farmer comes and tells his wife, "Oh, bad news." She said, "Well, which one of the calves died?" He said, "The Lord's calf died." Somehow it's always the Lord's calf that dies. Somehow it's always the Lord's tithe that gets cut from our budget. Somehow it's always the Lord's work that gets neglected. Why is that? Has it been the case for you? What do we treasure? Where is our focus in life? Which master are we truly serving? These are the ultimatums that Jesus gives to his disciples, to all who would be part of his kingdom in this passage. Don't lay up treasures on earth, but lay them up in heaven. If your eye is full of light, you can see clearly. You're focused. If your focus is bad, you will be full of darkness. Which master are you serving? You can only be devoted to one master, God or money, he picks on in this case. Where is your heart? Because where your treasure is, that is where your heart is going to be. Jesus has been talking here about the Father's care. Earlier in chapter 6, he says, when you give to the needy, don't let anyone know about it, and your Father will reward you. When you pray, don't seek the praise of men, and your Father will reward you. When you fast, don't let it be known to everyone, and your Father will reward you. He has been talking to his disciples about the Father's reward, how with God as your Father, he is the one who rewards your service to him. Don't give that away for the sake of other reward. The reward of the praise of men. The reward of earthly treasure. The reward of money, to be plain about it. What Jesus is saying here is that his kingdom is a rich kingdom, and it is rich in the Father's reward, and it is rich, verses 25 and following, it is rich in your Father's care. He cares for the birds. He cares for the flowers of the field. How much more does he care for you? He knows what you need before you ask him, and he will care for you. And in the context of our Father's care, in the context of seeking our Father's reward, Jesus puts forward these three ultimatums to his people, because Christ is either everything to us, or he is no more to us than anything else. He is either everything, or he is no more than anything else. There's no third option. There's no middle ground. We must recognize, we must not lose sight of over time in our lives that this is the case. We must not think we can have one foot in the kingdom of God and one foot in the world. That we can have one eye on heaven and another eye gazing to earth. Jesus wants us to know that being in his kingdom means following him with a single-minded, wholehearted service and devotion to him. And so he talks about these three ultimatums: our treasure, our focus in life, and our master. We must choose. We must pick sides. We must be completely devoted to one or the other. There is no other option. Let's think about this treasure. What's he telling us here about this treasure? Don't lay up treasures on earth, but lay up treasures in heaven. Verses 19 through 21. We treasure what we love, and we love what we treasure, right? What is your real treasure? What is it you value in life? He calls us to make this judgment. To gain one is to lose the other. Earthly treasure. Don't lay up earthly treasure. Why? Well, because there's moth and there's rust and there's thieves who steal. Earthly treasure gives no security. You think it does? We feel more secure when our earthly treasure is greater, but there is no security to it. We lived in South Africa for how long? 1 year. And within a few months, our house was burgled 4 times. Over the 25 years we've lived here, we've had 3 vehicles stolen. I tell people that overseas, and they're shocked. Wow, what? And I say, yeah, I mean, one vehicle every 7 years, it's not too bad. There's no security with earthly treasure. It is going to fade, nothing lasts forever, right? Here's earthly treasure. Get a handle on this, because we want to be clear here. Food and drink and what you wear, he's going to address next. And he says, your Father knows you need these things. God has created this world, and the things in this earth are good. God's good creation given for us to enjoy. But when he talks about earthly treasure, he's talking about anything on earth that is everything to us. Anything on earth that is everything to us. Things that you could not bear to lose. Things that you love so dearly. You will do anything to keep them, to get them, to enjoy them. That's the idea of earthly treasure. It is worth more than anything. It is worth more than obedience to God. It is worth more than ministry opportunities. It is worth more. One guy listed 5 areas, 5 kinds of earthly treasure: beauty, brains, brawn, bucks, and buddies. There's more than those 5, but they could keep us busy for a while. Beauty. Image is everything. I can't leave the house without it. Beauty. Brains. Knowledge is power. Pride in adding more degrees to the back of my name. Brawn, being the strongest and the fastest, the sports idolater. Bucks, he who dies with the most toys wins. All about our possessions and how much more money I can make if I just quit serving in this way and spend this time earning more. Buddies, acceptance and popularity junkies. How many likes do I have? How many likes don't I have? But Jesus says none of this lasts. None of this lasts. None of this is a true reflection of what it means to walk with God. Moth and rust destroy the most beautiful clothes and expensive toys. Thieves steal, regardless of alarm systems and burglar bars. There's no lasting value. And therefore, don't treasure things on earth. Enjoy the goodness God allows you to enjoy in the things he has provided in this world. But do not make them your treasure. Beauty fades. She will not look like that forever. Brawn weakens. He will not be able to carry you across the threshold forever. Buddies depart and eventually die. None of it lasts. What's your treasure? Where is your treasure? What do you value above all else? A person's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. What if you lost it? What if you lose your beauty, which you will one day? Is that going to ruin you? Or will you ruin your bank account trying to keep as much beauty as possible? Your brains, when they start to fail and grow tired and old and forgetful, is that going to ruin you? Is that going to just destroy everything you've been living for? Your brawn, your bucks, your money, your friends start to die or move away. Is that going to ruin your life? What is your treasure? If it consists of these earthly treasures, it's just a matter of time until you lose it all. But there is a heavenly treasure. There's a heavenly treasure. He says, lay up treasure in heaven, that which is of eternal value, that which is eternally secure, because in heaven there are no moths. There is no rust. There is no decay. There is no defilement. There are no thieves. It is secure, it is eternal, and it is of eternal value. These are the rewards that your Father gives you. You pray for a vehicle because you're stranded and you're tired of throwing money away on this old thing. And God provides that for you. That can be of eternal reward. That can be of eternal value if you use it. Not as your treasure that you can't live without, but you use it as a tool to seek first His kingdom, to serve Him, to serve others. Do you see it? We're not talking here only thinking about harps and clouds and eternal heavenly type things. We're talking here about every good thing that the Father gives to us here and now can be used to lay up eternal treasure, heavenly treasure. Your work, your job. It doesn't have to be teaching the Bible, being a missionary. If you are a lawyer, if you are a technician, if you are a ditch digger, that work can be done as service to the Lord, faithful to Him, to take dominion in His world, and it will be laying up treasure in heaven. Do you see it? Treasure on earth and treasure in heaven isn't about the location. It is about the heart. It is about the spirit. It is about how it is being used. And it is about holding the earthly things loosely. You can use your home to serve the Lord and to serve others. And if your home burns down or you get evicted, then that simply means God is done letting you use that to serve Him, and there will be something else you use. That is treasure in heaven. That is engaging in this world and with one another in ways that bring eternal, heavenly reward. That's the idea. In Matthew 13, Jesus is going to go on to tell some parables that emphasize the great value of his kingdom, serving his kingdom above everything else. Matthew 13, verse 44. He says, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and covered up. Then in his joy he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Can you imagine it? You're walking along through the veldt, and all of a sudden you see this hole, and down in the hole is gold. A ton of gold. And you say, wow, that's so you cover it up, and you go find who owns this field, and you buy that field. You sell everything you have to buy that field because the treasure in it is so rich. You sell, you dispense with what is of so much lesser value in order to gain that which is invaluable. He says it again in verse 45. The kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls, who on finding one pearl of great value went and sold all that he had and bought it. God's kingdom, this heavenly treasure, is worth more than all your beauty, brains, brawn, bucks, and buddies you could possibly amass in this life. It's worth losing everything for, because you gain so much. This is what influences our hearts. Verse 21. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be. So where's your heart? Where's your heart? What you value most, you will desire most. Your heart will be set upon it. And if your heart is attached, so you cannot let go of things on this earth, your heart will be turned away from heaven. Your heart will be turned away from the things of God. But if your treasure is in heaven, your affections will be set on things above, where Christ is, where your life is hidden with Christ in God. He is of the greatest value. He is the greatest treasure. And his kingdom and his rewards and his provision for us. He is worthy of this single-minded, wholehearted devotion to him. It is then, you see, that we have the freedom to serve him as we ought, to serve him as he deserves. Treasure. What really is your treasure? What really can you not live without? You cannot live without Christ. You cannot survive death without Christ. You must have him, though you lose everything else, though it costs everything else. He is worth it, and he is worthy. Treasure him and use every opportunity and provision on earth to lay up treasure in heaven. But that is going to affect us. Where our treasure is, our heart will be. And where our heart is set, that is going to determine the focus of our lives. And that's what he talks about next in this little parable, this little metaphor, 22 to 23. He talks about the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye's healthy, your whole body's full of light. If it's bad, your whole body's full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? What is he talking about? Well, he's talking about this idea of the focus of our life. You see, where my heart is set upon what I treasure most is going to affect how I see everything in this world. It's going to affect how I see everything in my life. If my treasure is money, I am going to see everything in terms of how much will it profit me. And service to the Lord and service to his people, there's usually not a lot of profit in it. And therefore your life will not be focused on serving, on giving, on caring, on ministry. The eye is the lamp of the body, right? When your eye is bad, Deborah's had these eye surgeries lately. She's had some bad eyes. And sometimes there's a big black blotch in her eye. And what happens? Your hand can't see what to pick up if your eye is blotted out, if your eye can't see. Your feet can't see where to go if your eyes are bad and you stumble and fall in the darkness, even though the light is there. But when your eye is good, it lets the light in and you can see clearly what you're doing and where you're going, who you're talking to. That's the focus of our life. How do you see the world? I'll tell you exactly how you see the world. You see the world in terms of what you treasure. That's how you see the world. That's how I see the world. Every one of us sees in that way, or doesn't see clearly if our treasure is on the wrong things. The focus of our life is to be a single-minded focus. It is a focus on his kingdom and his righteousness, not on gaining all the earthly things we can. And when our focus is on his kingdom and his righteousness, we see life clearly. We are able to walk uprightly. We are able to see the ministry opportunities before us. And our life is focused on serving, and so we jump in and serve. Our life is focused from the affections of our heart. Treasure Christ and his kingdom, and you will be full of light. Full of light to see life for what it really is. Full of light to see what is before you. His word is a lamp. His is a kingdom of light. In him there is no darkness. And we are called, back in chapter 5 and verse 14, to be the light of the world. But if our light is full of the darkness of the world, if that's our focus, then how great is the darkness that is in us. It impairs our focus. Our focus is darkened. What is your focus? Do you see everything in terms of how it will benefit your comfort? Do you see everything in terms of how it will benefit your advancement, status and position and power? Do you see everything in terms of how it will provide you with safety and prosperity when there is no such thing in this world? How are you seeing life If our treasure is earthly things, it's going to blind us to godly relationships. And we're going to see people as annoyances and interruptions, or maybe as prospects and potential customers, instead of those who bear the image of God and are to be objects of our love and care. It will blind us to how we raise our children and how we motivate them. Do well at school, get a good job so you can make a lot of money. Instead of, what is God calling you to do? Be willing to sacrifice everything to fulfill that calling in your life. It blinds us to ministry opportunities, to kingdom priorities. It blinds us to what is most important. Ultimately, it blinds us to the gospel and how great is that darkness. Begins with what we treasure. And that directs the affections of our heart. And that gives focus to our lives, whether light or dark. And that leads to, who is your master? Who is your master? Verse 24. Treasure, focus, and master. No one can serve two masters. And you say, well, I'm not going to serve either master. And you're just fooling yourself. Everyone has a master. You're living for something. You're serving someone. Who are you serving? In our world today, we are told we should serve ourselves. If you're going to make a decision about something, you're going to do something, don't do it for these other people. Don't do it for your family. Do it for yourself. So you want yourself to be your master? That's just as bad. Everyone is a slave. We are all slaves. We are all servants of something or someone. We are spending our lives, we are giving ourselves, our energy, our time, we are giving it to something, we are giving it to someone. Is it earthly treasure? Is that the focus? And therefore that's the master we're serving? Or is it God? You will either hate the one master and love the other. You'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. But you cannot serve both God and earthly treasure. Money in particular. What is it you're a slave to? Are you a slave to your success? You've got to prove your parents wrong? Are you a slave to popularity? Acceptance by others? People pleasing is your master? Are you a slave to your pleasures and lusts? That is driving you? Your own selfish desires, a slave to earthly treasure or heavenly treasure. You can't serve two. It's the nature of slavery. You do what your master says. You do what your master says. Is your master your own fears? Shame of your failures? You can only serve one master. Two masters can tell you what to do. But as soon as their demands conflict, it's really clear who your master actually is. It's really clear who each one of us actually serves. We can say what we will, but what you do, what you treasure, where your focus is, it's pretty well known who your real master is. It's not hidden. It's definitely not hidden from God. And Jesus puts it very strongly, doesn't he? You will hate and despise God if you are serving, devoted to beauty, brain, brawn, bucks, and buddies, power and position, whatever it may be. You can't serve both. But you will love and be devoted to God if your treasure is in heaven. That's where you're laying up the treasure. That's where your heart is. That directs the focus of your life. And you will love him and you will serve him. Maybe some of the trouble that we have with our service, our faithfulness, our taking opportunities or not, maybe some of the trouble is that we still have some earthly treasures. It's not the full focus of our life. We belong to Christ. We will not deny him. And yet there are times where the earthly treasure still has some grip and darkens our focus. What's the solution? The solution isn't try harder. The solution is to gaze more upon that heavenly treasure, to gaze more upon Christ, and to see how worthy he is for our wholehearted, single-minded devotion and service. It is to gaze upon that heavenly treasure, that heavenly reward. It is to trust more deeply our Father's care for us. If I let go of this, which brings me some sense of security, I will be totally insecure. No, you won't. Not if you have Christ and a Father in heaven who knows how to care for you. That is what Jesus is calling his people to set our heart, focus our life on him, on heavenly treasure. I have to deal with this all the time. In my heart, I have the challenge of assuming. I have the constant challenge of assuming that I am really serving God and that I am laying up heavenly treasure. What happens? What happens if I can no longer travel and train pastors? What will I do? Will my life be ruined? Am I doing it because I treasure the service, the work? Or am I doing it because I really, truly treasure the heavenly reward? I truly treasure serving God. And if he decides tomorrow, that's it, I've done that I intend to do with you, now someone else is going to do it, and puts me down, will that ruin me? It could, because I love what I do. But what's my real treasure? See? What's the real treasure? What's my real focus? Serving Him, proclaiming His name, spreading His fame. And if I got put in a place where all I can do now is flip burgers at Steers, can I do that with as much joy and gratitude and focus upon serving God? That's the challenge for us. That's what He calls us to. Why? Why would Jesus call us to such a thing? Such, it seems like an impossible thing. Such a hard thing. Such a high, holy thing. Why would He call us to that? Because He is worthy. Because He has given us all the blessings at the beginning in chapter 5. Because He has given us this kingdom, which is a treasure, which is a pearl of great value. Because He has given us, brought us to a Father in heaven who cares for us and secures us and provides for us. We have to choose. What will we serve? Career, sport, ego, you name it. But Jesus is saying here, like Joshua before Him, choose this day whom you will serve. Undivided loyalty, wholehearted, single-minded devotion. Let me close with a few questions I came across that really helps diagnose our own hearts. And then we'll pray. Which disturbs you the most? Which disturbs you the most? Missing the worship service or missing overtime at work? Which disturbs you the most? A sermon 10 minutes too long or lunch half an hour late? Which disturbs you the most? Your Bible unopened or your social media unopened? Which disturbs you the most? Missing a ministry opportunity or missing a sports event? Or maybe a hair and nails appointment? Which disturbs you the most? Your giving decreasing or your income decreasing? Which disturbs you the most? A soul lost in hell or a scratch on your new car? Which really disturbs you the most?